So a little recap for how you're going to do your acrylic pull. You're going to have in front of you your piece of work. So yours will look different to mine. This will be either a photograph or a drawing in black and white that you've had printed or photocopied. That would be your piece of work in front of you. Then you're going to need a squeegee, and then you're going to need the colours that you want to use to add to the top of your work. So I've got here 2 examples I'm going to show you really quick. Now this one is going to be a leaf. So I've chosen different shades of green, a little bit of yellow, so that they're all going to combine so that I've got a good colour to cut my leaves from. And then on this one, I'm going to do different colours to make petals. So I've got some pinks and some purples and a bit of yellow. That's going to be a completely different thing in the end. So that's going to be a leaf. That's going to be a flower. So I'm just going to show you a quick recap of how you need to put your paint on. So your squeegee is going to face away from you to begin with, and it's going to go a little bit in from the top of your page and then just place it down. Now that, don't forget, is to remind you that you are going to hold the top of that page with your hand later on. So the squeegee is going to go there to remind you not to put paint in that top section. As well, what's really handy is, look at the width of that squeegee. You now know that the paint you put on has to fit inside of that. And also when you come down, you don't want to go any further than about halfway down your page. So straight away now, as I'm putting that squeegee on, I know I'm going to start my paint here. I'm not going to go any further than those edges. And the furthest I'm going to come down is about here, about halfway. So I'm kind of making myself a little square that I know I'm going to fill. So I'm ready to go now. To add the paint, always do this. Do not forget, you must put your finger on top of that lid. Give it a little shake, not a big shake, not just a little shake like that, and it's going to help that paint run down to the bottom of the bottle. Then you take off your lid, put it at the top, and you hold your bottle at the bottom. So we never ever hold the top. We hold right near the bottom so that we're ready to squeeze lightly. Now look at the size as a reminder, squeezing from the bottom, and I'm going to go right near where that squeegee is and a little squeeze and stop. So look, I'm nowhere near the edge and I'm just underneath that squeegee. That's perfect. Now if I'm clever, what I should do now with this first colour is mark out the boundary of how far I should go and how low down I should go. So I'm not going to go further out than that. So I'm going to come down to about halfway. I'm going to put another bit of paint there. So again, squeeze light, let go, about the size of a pea. I'm going to come over. I'm going to do another one about there. And then up to the top again. Let's go here. And then one in the middle. Another one in the middle. So I've got now a boundary to work inside of, and I can't go wrong now. Lid back on. That first colour is done. So I'm going to come to the next one. Finger on the lid. Gentle shake. Take the lid off. Now I know I don't go lower than this and I don't go outside those marks. So I'm going to stay. I'm going to squeeze from the bottom. Really gentle. There we go. So I'm just doing little tiny pea sizes. And I'm spreading these out now quite even. So I'm going to stay inside that boundary that I've made. So say about 5 squeezes of each colour is about right. And then lid on, put that to the side. Next colour, finger over the lid, little shake, lid off. And then again, I'm going to put a little bit of a squeeze, a little bit of a pressure at the bottom. If it doesn't come out, we're just going to turn it. So don't squeeze harder, just turn a little bit, squeeze from another direction. There you go, see? So this white is going to work really well because it's going to make whatever it comes into contact with just lighter. So it'll be a lighter shade of that colour. So I'm just going to pop it near or underneath where I've put other little bits of paint. So put one there. There we go, and then lid on again. Away. Last one, finger over the lid, tiny shake, lid off, and then let's see where I need to fill. So hold at the bottom, gentle squeeze. There we go. There's one, and then I'm going to spread this out. So there's one. There's one. I'm going to put one near the top actually. Up there. Up there. And where have I not got one? Let's go there. So now that is perfect. Lid on. I'm going to check my hands. Look, nothing on my hands. Not spill anything on the table. I'm doing really well. So now I've got everything in the right place. I'm going to pick up the red handle. I'm going to hold it now. I'm not going to put it down yet. I'm going to hold it high because I need to use my other hand to hold that page into position because I don't want that page to move. If it moves, I'm going to pull that paint on myself and I don't want that. So I'm going to make sure I've got my hand really firmly pressing down on that piece of paper. I'm going to put the squeegee in front of my hand. I'm going to get it nice and comfortable and then pressing down. See where my finger is here? Sometimes that's a good position. Pressing down on the page. I'm going to pull nice and straight and firm all the way down. Keep pressing, keep pressing, keep pressing. If I get towards the bottom and it's still got a lot of paint, I'm going to stop, but I reckon there is about right. And now I've got all those beautiful colours over the top of that image. Because we've got that little gap at the top, this is where we can fill it if we want to. If you've got a lot of paint underneath your squeegee, so we don't waste it, you can now put that a bit higher than you started. Still make sure you can hold it. But now, if you pull down again, we're just making sure that we're not wasting any paint. There we go. So we've added all of that beautiful colour. Now straight away, we need to pop this in the sink, get a brush, not a brush, get a sponge, give that a real good clean. It can only take 5 seconds, make sure all of that paint is off, and then leave that on the side to dry. Before we use each squeegee, it has to be completely clean and dry. So if we do it as we go along, we know that we're always doing it right. So straight to the sink with this one. And then this is going to be dry in about 5 or 10 minutes. Because we've pulled it and it's really, really thin as a layer of paint, it will dry quickly. If for any reason you can see that you've left a little kind of bubble of paint anywhere, then absolutely get your squeegee again and just pull over the top of it and it will just smooth it out. Easy, easy. So I'm going to pop that one to the other side, bring this one in, swap my colours like that. So this one, just so I can speed up, I've started earlier. I put my first colour on and I've marked out my boundary like I did before. So I'm not going to go outside of that space and I'm not going to go lower than that bottom set of paint peas, as I like to call them. So finger over the top of my first colour, give it a little shake, lid off. So this one is going to be a petal. So I'm going to hold at the bottom, small press, and there comes the paint out. So this set is going to be very, very different with the colour because this one's going to eventually be a flower. So I'm going to just pop a few more bits on there. Done. Lid back on. Next colour. Finger over the top. Give it a little shake. Lid off. If you're doing a flower, you might want to sneak an extra colour in. So you might want to do 5 colours instead of 4. All similar, don't forget. So if you want a red flower, lots of different shades of red. Maybe a little bit of yellow in there. And then that will all blend together. And then lid on again. Last one. So I've got a bit of orange last. Finger over, little shake, lid off. And again, little squeeze. Don't go outside your boundary. But make sure you've got a nice even coverage like that. Done. Lid on. And again, look, no paint on my hands, no paint on the table. I'm going to lift up with the handle. I'm going to place the squeegee at the top so I can still get my hand really comfortably on there so I can hold that paper. And then I'm going to press down again with the squeegee. Nice straight line. I'm going to pull down. Oh, look at that one. That's much brighter. Keep going. And importantly, before the end, because you don't want to put it on yourself, you're going to stop, lift up. If you've got a lot of paint still, you can go back to the top, press down, get hold of the paper again, and just pull, add all of that colour on there. That's it. If you've still got a bit, then absolutely you could turn. If you've got a big section at the bottom like me where it's still not got paint and you can hold it safely, and you can still just try and drag a little bit of that paint on until it's absolutely used up. And then again, that one's done. That one needs to go in the sink. Now all you've got to do is wait a couple of minutes. It might be that if you do a little kind of run, so you might make kind of 3 or 4 at the same time, by the time you've done your 4th one, the first might be dry, because the thing we can't forget is if we're making petals or we're making leaves, you're going to see both sides. So when you've done one side of your piece of paper and it's dry, you're going to turn it over and you're going to repeat with the same colours so that both sides have got that colour on there, and then it's ready to go. So that's the only thing you need to remember to do. If you've done one side, brilliant. Let it dry first so that you can turn over and then repeat on the back, same colours, so that that is then ready to go to cut your petal shapes out of, and then you can construct your flowers.